This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I am so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 192nd episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and this week we're going to talk about being a hometown tourist. Now, honestly, I had planned on talking about the Mississippi Gulf Coast this week. I have wanted to talk about it for a while. I feel like that's an episode that I have been meaning to do. I get lots of requests. I wanted to talk about Umbrella Alley, which is something I posted on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate, Whimsical Destinations. And so that's what I thought I was going to talk about this week. But then I kept thinking about all the things I've done lately in Tupelo that I feel like I want to share first. I'm from Guntown, but I would spend almost every day in Tupelo because that is where Christian goes to school, and that is where we have so many of our day-to-day activities. That's where Logan works. And so we live in Guntown, but we work in and around Tupelo. And I've thought about this idea a lot as a hometown tourist, and I've even shared an episode before. This is not my first episode about exploring the idea of looking at your own city, your own town, through the eyes of a tourist, and how that can actually change the way you look at it. Now, I love spring. I mean, I love every season. Every season has something beautiful, but in the spring, it really puts something in my mind that I'm ready to go explore. Like I feel like I need to go, chase waterfalls and wildflower fields. Spring break is something that I have not missed a spring break trip my entire adult life. There's been somewhere I've gone for spring break, whether it's a short 2 or 3 day trip or the full week. I have done something for spring break every year, my adult life and most of my childhood. But I've also done a lot of day trips. But when I think about it, there's so much to do as a tourist in my own hometown that I've been doing that's not just spring break, but it's made me think about how much we have to offer in not only Tupelo, but in our other towns surrounding. In Ripley, New Albany, Boonville, Baldwin, Saltillo, Pontotoc, Amory, Fulton. There's a lot to do here. And I know some of you are thinking like, no, there's nothing else to do here. That's why we want to go other places. But let me just share some of the things that I have done in the past, I would say, month or two in Tupelo specifically. It might change your mind or open your eyes to some things that have been right here that you've never tried. Okay, first up, Tupelo Reads. If you've never heard of this is for the past, I would say, 15 years or so, where the entire community, the Lee County Library and Tupelo and surrounding areas get together and we read one book by an author, and the author usually is the one who comes to do either a Q&A or a guest lecture at the Lee County Library. And so this year, the book was Theo of Golden, which takes place in a little southern town in Georgia. And the author is Alan Levi. Now, this author has really taken off. Like, it's one of the New York bestseller books, and he was a self-published author. This book, he didn't even intend to be published. It was a kind of a writing exercise for another book that he has in mind, and he is already working on a sequel for this one. But it has worked its way from a grassroots, I would say, approach from book club to book club all throughout the Southeast. And then now it has exploded and it's a nationwide and even worldwide, beloved book. And I think we must have gotten him on the roster before he really took off, because he couldn't even have on his website that he was coming to Tupelo, Mississippi, or else they said people would have been coming from hours away and would have camped outside. There were 800 plus people in attendance. I don't know if I've ever seen a more attended event at the Lee County Library. And it was a conversation between the author Alan Levi and Jack Reed Jr., and it was phenomenal. I don't know if there's a dry eye in the audience because the book and the author are just so moving, and it's all about kindness. And I thought to myself, this is a free event that is here locally that they could not even publish on a wide scale because they couldn't have accommodated the amount of people that would have wanted to come. And that's the kind of thing that you can find here as a hometown tourist. The things that maybe aren't published on a wide scale but are here. And if you're looking in the right places, so look at the local libraries. What are the events that they have there? The other thing I would suggest is look at the restaurants and the local businesses to see what events they have. For example, the Bronze Olive in New Albany. I'm telling you, I am going to go to one of their pasta classes, but the moment I see a pasta class posted for the Bronze Olive in New Albany is the moment that it is already filled. So if somebody's got an in and they want to help me get into the next pasta class at the Bronze Olive, I would love to. But that's just how popular they are, right? They're a fun event everybody wants to go to, and that's something that where you're getting to be a tourist in your own hometown. One event that I did get to go to just a few weeks ago was a coffee class. It was actually latte art at Lost and Found in Tupelo, Mississippi. And they had two different classes at once. They had a coffee pouring class and a latte art class. And so I signed Logan and myself up for the latte art. And I'm going to tell you now, I had an agenda. Logan knew it. So he's not surprised when I have an agenda. I went to this latte art class thinking it's going to be a fun night. I'm going to learn some latte art, maybe not. I'll get to drink some coffee. I love Lost and Found. I love the people there. I was like, it's going to be a great date night. But I really need Logan to learn how to do this because we have an espresso machine and he makes espresso. But I didn't even realize we had the ability in this espresso machine to make lattes until I went to this class. And now I realize that I had been sitting in my kitchen with the ability to have Logan make me a cappuccino or a latte, and I've been wasting that, opportunity for over a year now. So we went to the latte art class, learned so much about coffee culture and what the difference between a cappuccino and a latte and a macchiato and a cortado. Like, we just learned so many things, and we got to try how you could steam milk. I thought that was a very simple process, and I was mistaken. It is a very detailed, complex process to steam milk right and to then pour it into the different shapes. I attempted a heart. It did not look like a heart. Logan's heart was a little bit better than my heart, and he's since, with lots of practice, he's getting better. But we tried different things, and from hearts to mosaics, and it was a fun night. And so whether it's a coffee class or a pasta class or a cooking class, we have those here. You just need to check with local coffee shops and other businesses to find out what's on their calendar. That's all the time we have for this edition of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. You can head over to theshark1023.com to find the entire episode of this podcast. Tune in every Monday at 11 a.m. to turn your travel dreams into travel plans. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for an interview or for access to this interview, go to our website, shark1023.com, and click on the podcast tab. This interview can also be found on Apple, Google, and Amazon Podcast. Keep it tuned to the Shark 1023 and start planning your next trip.